Mr. H reviews, Daredevil Born Again should have been aborted. Ratings tank. Marvel is dead. I don't understand why they keep saying this. How can Marvel and Disney be the most profitable, largest studio in the world and also at the same time be dead? How do you square that circle? I don't get it. All right, let's see what he has to say.
All right, Daredevil Born Again Season 2. Not doing so well, apparently. Loads of people really liked Season 1, apparently, allegedly. I think I watched episode 1.
By the way, I don't typically correct subjective opinions. If you like or dislike something, I'm not going to go, no, you must like it. If you don't like something, you don't like it. That's fine. But if you want to look at a more objective version of that, you would look at something like Rotten Tomatoes, IMDb, Metacritic, and I did look it up last night. All three of those sites for season 1 of Daredevil Born Again show it at least at a 70% or higher on all of those sites, which means people were more favorable in general towards Daredevil Born Again season 1. I've had my issues with season 1. It's not really important to this conversation. I think season 2 is better if we're talking my personal subjective take on it. But a lot of people, at least on paper, have said they prefer season 1 over some of the other stuff that we've gotten on Disney Plus in terms of shows.
I remember if I watched episode 2. I know I watched episode 1. And I was like, not my cup of tea.
Okay, so already this is somebody who is talking about something they're not interested in. He's not interested in the show. I don't know what this trend is of content creators making videos about stuff they're just not interested in. Why do you care if season 2 is underperforming if you didn't even watch season 1? Why do you give a shit? It's like legitimate question. Why would you care about that? It seems like a waste of time. I don't watch House Hunters. So why would I give a fuck if House Hunters season 30 is underperforming from House Hunters season 29? Why would I care? This is why it's all performative. This is one of the reasons I call these guys out, is because it's just this kind of stuff. Like, why are you even engaging in discourse about something that you're not watching?
This looks like a lot of what the leaks had been. You could definitely see elements of what the leaked plot was riding through there. You know, it was going to be a case of, well, you know, he needs to find himself again a little bit. And it definitely was there. You can see elements of it anyway. But I just couldn't be bothered to watch it, to be honest. So this is interesting. So Daredevil Born Again season 2.
So the numbers dropping are interesting, but the show itself for you is not? What kind of opinion are you going to give? We got 8 minutes here in this video. We're going to watch Mr. H. We might not even get to the 8-minute mark. What opinion can you give? Your own opinion on this. What can you do in terms of commentary over the decline of viewership on a show if you're not watching the show? What are you doing? Are you just reading the news? Is that it? You're gonna read an article to me? I can do that by myself. I don't need you to do that. If you're not gonna give some sort of opinion about the movie or the show that you're talking about, and you're just reading the article, that is definitionally low effort slop. Like, if you're talking about lazy, low effort content on YouTube, it doesn't get any lower than simply reading an article and just agreeing with whatever the article says. That's bottom of the barrel, which is why he scraped out 8 minutes and 4 seconds so he could get that double ad revenue on this video. So he gets 2 ads instead of 1.
Viewership plummets. It's down by 50%.
Okay.
It's not a small thing. That's pretty bloody huge. And I keep going back to this. I keep going back to Marvel. I keep going back to comic book movies, superhero movies, these kind of things. Not necessarily comic book movies, but superhero genre.
Right. You keep going back to something that is not performing well because you know that it gets you the most money and views on your channel because people actually watch it. So something that the math doesn't math. If this kind of stuff wasn't bringing in views, if people weren't engaging in stuff like Daredevil, Spider-Man, Doomsday, if they weren't doing that, you guys would not have a platform for that. in order for you to talk about something popular or talk about something and get views off of it, it has to be a popular thing. Again, the math ain't mathin'.
I think we're done.
Are we?
I think we're done. I think Marvel is beating a dead horse with this. I think that's obvious now, surely.
And what is your opinion on the quality of the show? Like, do you think it's bad? Oh, that's right, you didn't watch it. You didn't watch it. So you're talking about plot leaks for a show that's currently airing that you could be watching, but you're not. Got it.
I think Doomsday will be a disaster for them, and I think every single piece of media from Marvel that we see on the run-up to Doomsday will reveal that.
So you think Spider-Man is going to flop? You think a Spider-Man movie is going to flop? That's bold. That's bold. I have given my rough estimates on what I think Spider-Man could possibly do, but I don't see Spider-Man doing under $1 billion. You know what I mean? It might not be the $2 billion juggernaut that, the last Spider-Man movie was. I don't see a reality where this Spider-Man movie doesn't make $1 billion. If the Spider-Man movie doesn't make $1 billion, then I think we could start talking about, maybe something's off with the economy. Maybe there's an issue with how much money people have to spend on things. Because I talked about this last night. People don't have tons of money to spend on streaming services like Disney Plus that jumps from $12 to $19 in a year's time. When Daredevil Born Again season 1 came out, Disney Plus was like $12. It was $12, and you could bundle it with other stuff, bringing the price down significantly per streaming service. But now, in 2026, it's like $19 for Disney Plus. Everybody else is under those. And it's that way because people are having to be very choosy about where they spend their money. Most people are going to YouTube. It keeps increasing because YouTube is free. You might have to watch ads, and you can get YouTube Premium, but YouTube is still free. Tubi, what is it? There's another one. There's another freebie video streaming service other than Tubi. I can't remember the name of it right now. But yeah, those free ones are gaining traction because people don't want to spend money on streaming services. Disney also suffered a boycott because of the Jimmy Kimmel situation. I know a lot of people have it. Pluto TV, that's the other one. Thank you, Pluto TV. Disney suffered a boycott because of the Jimmy Kimmel situation. A lot of people never came back. And I'll have to look at the numbers. We don't have them right now, but I would like to look at the next quarter if they're going to give us like some accurate numbers. The next quarter on Disney Plus to see how they did. Did their subscriptions grow slower than previously? Did they gain back the numbers that they lost? Did any of that happen? That would be a bigger tell for me. Because if you're looking at Daredevil Born Again in a vacuum by itself, and you're not comparing other shows on the Disney Plus platform, or you're not even comparing other shows in the Marvel universe, like Agatha All Along and some of these other shows, if you're just looking at it singularly by itself at this exact point in time, you can paint any narrative you want to paint out of this information. And we're going to talk a little bit more, if he brings it up, how they got these numbers and why these numbers aren't always accurate.
It will just show the declining interest. And apparently, there was also stuff like this. Wilson Bethel admitting frustration with Daredevil Born Again.
Hold on for a second. We're going to do a little fact check. Let's see where he goes with this. I'm going to correct him if he tries any bullshit.
So that's not good either. But I thought we'd just get into this first.
Oh, you're not even... Wilson Bethel's frustration with Daredevil Born Again. You read the headline, and then you didn't talk about what he said. Holy shit. Red flag. Can I get a red flag? Seriously. He was talking about season 1. In the article, we're going to click over here. Fans who spent years watching the Marvel movies in order were thrilled when Netflix Marvel characters were finally brought back, especially in Daredevil Born Again. And while Bethel praised his role in season 2, He had some thoughts about season 1, which, by the way, I have my own personal subjective opinions about season 1 as well. I think season 2 is much better. That aside, it says, while speaking with Brandon Davis, the actor offered his perspective, saying, my only frustration, and I don't think I'm like setting the world on fire with this comment, but like my only frustration is that I think I have so much respect for what the show is and has been. I think the fans are so deeply invested, have so much respect for the show, hold it in such a high standard that it was frustrating for me a little bit that we had to settle at all in coming back with that first season. That's what he said. He was talking about the struggles with the first season. And if you guys remember, the first season had issues. The issues were they were bringing it back as like a half-hour series. They were going to make it more episodes, but only 30 minutes each. It was going to be some procedural show. Not a lot of action, not a lot of Daredevil, mostly courtroom drama stuff. And during filming of that, they decided this is not the way to go. This is not good. It's not what people want from the show. And so they went back and they pieced together the show into what we got in season 1. So season 1 quite literally was a jigsaw puzzle of ideas to try and course correct the Daredevil show that would have been pretty much a disaster in regards of a courtroom drama. So that's what they were doing. They were fixing it. This is what he was talking about here. Going into season 2, he says that he enjoyed season 2. He praised season 2. But Mr. H here has decided that it's best to just mention that Wilson Bethel, we're going to jump back a second, to mention that he has an issue with Daredevil Born Again and then omit what he actually said.
There was also stuff like this. Wilson Bethel admitting frustration with Daredevil Born Again. So that's not good either.
Oh.
I thought we'd just get into this first, because this is that decline in viewership, which is mad. This is not what Marvel wants to see on the lead up to arguably one of the most expensive movies of all time.
Okay.
Which they're...
Right, because Daredevil Born Again has so much to do with Doomsday.
Well, I believe anyway, they're using it as a Hail Mary, right? Like it's...
Right.
Yeah, we're going to throw everything at this because we...
They already had an Avengers movie planned that was going to center around a similar story back before Quantumania. That concept was already in the works. They had to shuffle it because of what happened with Kang. Because I don't necessarily believe, just from my perspective, that this was always the plan from Marvel. I don't think it was. But there was a concept of this movie that was going to happen regardless. So it's not a Hail Mary. They had already planned this years ago.
Need this to reignite fan interest in Marvel again. Doomsday. So this is pretty disastrous for Marvel. But we'll just read from some of this. It just says, just as we went over a few days ago, now Daredevil Born Again Season 2 is showing a major drop from Season 1, according to the latest Luminate streaming data. Now that is...
Yeah, so Luminate, before he even says anything, Luminate it's Nielsen ratings all over again. That's all this is. I'm not saying that Luminate are purposely misleading people. Just like I wouldn't say Nielsen is doing that. I think the information that Luminate provides gets twisted and manipulated by these guys into concrete fact. And it's just not. Luminate does not have access to any official numbers from any of the places they pull numbers from. They do not. All they're doing is counting a certain metric to create numbers that they believe is somewhat accurate based on their system. Which, by the way, I did digging. Their system says it's a multifaceted system, but they only count numbers in the US, as far as I can tell. And I don't know what multifaceted means. Like, are they talking tablets, smartphones, laptops, and smart TVs, or just TVs? I don't know. I can't find that information out. Disney does not provide information to Luminate. So we do not have Disney's information. Why would Disney, who has access to their own numbers, give one single fuck about Luminate's numbers when Luminate doesn't have the actual numbers? Why would they care about that? Luminate doesn't work for Disney. Disney doesn't use Luminate for anything. It is literally just used by news outlets and agents that are like getting actors hired for stuff. That's really the only thing Luminate is used for. So why would Disney or any of these other places give one single fuck about anything that Luminate is talking about? It just doesn't make sense. Disney has access to their own numbers.
Is on, I think it's Variety. It's either Variety or Deadline, one of the two. So the latest figures shared by the company reveal that Daredevil Born Again Season 2 has...
I love how this article frames it, shared by the company. Shared by the company. That's them trying to fuck with people's heads while they're listening to this or reading this article, because they're separating Luminate from the claim by going the company. It should say the latest figures shared by Luminate, because then you would know specifically that they're talking about Luminate. But when they say company, your brain goes, company Disney? Shared by Disney?
Accumulated 4.5 million season views. 10,867,000 hours watched and 652 million minutes watched to date. So in comparison, within the same time frame, Luminate reported that season 1 had generated 8.3 million season views, 24 million hours watched,
right,
and a number I can't even read.
So they're comparing two sets of numbers that are not confirmed as being accurate by Disney. So already it's like we have two arbitrary numbers. We don't know if they're real or not. And we're comparing those two numbers to try and determine how popular Daredevil Born Again is. Why do we care about this?
I don't even know what that is. That a billion? I don't know. Is that a billion minutes? I think 1.4 billion minutes.
Why don't you
that's what that is?
Why didn't you? I mean, this is a recorded video, so why didn't you get that looked up before you made the video? It's a recorded and edited video.
So Daredevil Born Again Season 2 lose half of its audience based on the Luminate numbers. That is what it looks like.
Now, Luminate came out and said that this isn't unusual. Luminate actually said that. I read the article, the non-clickbaity article, where Luminate said it is not unusual for shows to have a really big first season and lose some of those viewers, shed some of those viewers between season 1 and 2. That came directly from Luminate. Because they knew there were going to be these ring the alarm, something's wrong videos coming out, saying that the house is on fire.
It'll be interesting to compare this with the Nielsen streaming data, because Nielsen will also calculate the overall interest in Daredevil as a property.
Well, it can't, because Nielsen only counts smart TVs. Nielsen is worse than Luminate, because we know that Nielsen only counts one metric. Nielsen ratings count USA smart TV viewership. It doesn't count tablets. It doesn't count phones. It doesn't count laptops. It only counts if you watch this show through the Disney Plus app on a smart television. So Nielsen's not a good metric either. It's antiquated for streaming services. It has been for years.
It won't just do season 2. It's just like Daredevil, Daredevil Born Again. So that will be really interesting. That would be really interesting.
Will it?
To compare it up with this, but obviously we've got to wait for that data. It's like a month behind. So Daredevil Born Again Season 2 drops hard in Luminate ratings. The Luminate numbers show a steep decline for Daredevil Born Again Season 2 compared to Season 1.
Yeah.
Season 2's 4.5 million season viewers are down from Season 1's 8.3 million season views. And that is a drop of about...
You're struggling a little bit on this one. But, I mean, you don't watch the show, so shouldn't shock me that you're having trouble with any of this.
So the total hours watched fell even more. Season 2 has 10.8 million hours watched compared to 24 million hours watched for Season 1.
Did it say the amount of time in this one? Because also the show, Daredevil Born Again Season 1, would have received viewership bumps for Season 2. I don't see in this article, in this segment of this article, where they're comparing length of times. How long were those numbers calculated by? Is it like the first week? Is it the first month? Is it the first 24 hours? How long were they calculating these numbers? Were they calculating them over time? Were they counted months and months and months after Daredevil Born Again season 1 came out? So those numbers are just racking up over months, and we're trying to compare that to a show that's currently on air? Like what's the metric here? Looking at these raw numbers don't really do much if we don't understand what the time frame is.
And that is down nearly 55%, which is crazy. Total minutes watched, season 2, 652.
Yeah, the first season would look. I'm not trying to fucking glaze for Daredevil Born Again season 1. I don't think it was the strongest season. I did prefer season 2, so where I am preferring season 2 over season 1. So I'm not trying to glaze for it. Think about this. You got season 1 comes out, and then people know season 2 is coming out. They're going to go back and watch. Some people are going to go back and watch season 1 again. So you're going to double up on those numbers. Season 2 is currently airing. Do you guys understand what I'm saying here? Season 1 gets double, triple dips from some people. Season 2 right now is just airing right now.
1.4 billion minutes watched, so it was 1.4 billion. That's mad. It's lost about half of its audience. So that's quite bad. That's quite bad.
Say it again, please.
Nielsen has also showed bad news for Daredevil. So Luminate report follows Nielsen's latest streaming originals chart for the week of March 23rd, 29, but it's still behind, basically.
You know, the funny thing about this is, why are they not doing this over every show? When people ask me how to determine like a grifter or a media grifter or a scammer or whatever, how do you determine that kind of a person in regards to everybody else? It's stuff like this. And what I mean by that is, you're talking about the viewership numbers for a show in a vacuum when you're not interested in it, but you're not doing that to every other show that exists. It's this one show. Then you have to ask yourself, why this one show? If you're not watching it and you're not enjoying it and you're not talking about it in any other regard, and the only time you bring it up is this one time, why is that? What is the reason for that? It's not because he likes the show. So he's not complaining about it going, hey, I like the show and the numbers are bad, this sucks. Or he's watching the show and he hates it and he agrees that the numbers are bad. It's not that. He's simply doing this because he wants to talk about something to scam and grift off of. No interest in it, no passion, no desire, none of that exists. That's a media grifter. He's doing it just to make the money off of it. There's no other interest whatsoever. Oh, right here. Season 1 had 7 episodes released in the first 5 weeks. Season 2 only had 6. So yeah, it was missing an episode. But none of that matters to these guys. None of that matters at all. Anyway, let's see what he's got left in the tank. He's struggling here. We're 5 minutes in. He's got to get 3 more minutes. He's looking at the clock here. He's got to get 3 more minutes in to get that double ad revenue.
Which just is what it is. So the first episode of Daredevil Born Again Season 2, that premiered March 24th, but the series did not chart in Nielsen's top 10 list, so that's bad. That's sort of the Nielsen charts basically corroborating what Luminate is.
Again, the Nielsen charts are antiquated for streaming. It doesn't accurately detect new shows for lots of reasons. I've already talked about them today. It doesn't count things correctly. Is he going to read the quote? I'm curious if he's going to explain why it is that season 1, which he's saying did better than season 2, how he's going to square the circle of Wilson Bethel having frustrations with season 1. How are you going to do that?
It's saying, and then there's this, there's commentary like this, which is interesting, right? So the actor who plays Benjamin Poindexter Bullseye, says he had some frustration with the Disney Plus show's first season. Now, that's interesting, isn't it? Like, why? What's going on?
Right. So you didn't read it beforehand. You pull it up now and you're like, oh shit. He's talking about season 1, not season 2. The one that I'm trying to use as a weapon against season 2. He's talking about how he had frustration with it. Because it's very clear that quality-wise, season 2 has upped the quality. Now, whether or not you like it more is, again, subjective. But it's very clear the quality of the show has gone up in season 2. What's your commentary on that, Mr. H?
On there. You know, like, what? Okay.
So you don't even know the controversy with season 1? You don't know the controversy about all the filming issues they had with it? He is completely dialed out. He's completely dialed out. He has no interest in this whatsoever. I think we're going to call it on this one. This is a really good example. So this is my first Mr. H reviews debunking. It's a really good example of someone who is literally just media grifting. Literally just doing this for the clicks. It's an 8-minute and 4-second video. First big red flag that he's doing it just to get 2 ads. He's talking about a show he doesn't talk about. He doesn't watch. He didn't watch the first season. He's not watching the second season. He doesn't know anything about the production side of the show. He doesn't know anything about stuff that's happening on the show. He's strictly looking at Nielsen and Luminate numbers. It's embarrassing. It is embarrassing for somebody who has a large channel that it's so glaringly obvious that this is a narrative video. That's all this is. I don't know. This is my first watch of like a full Mr. H video. We haven't even watched the whole thing. And we're not going to watch the whole thing. Spoiler alert, we're not going to finish this video. I just don't have time for this kind of, like, there's nothing to debunk here. He's already proven this is bad faith and he doesn't know what he's talking about. He's literally just reading an article. Again, it doesn't get any low effort than that. That is the worst thing you can do. So many channels like Yellow Flash, a lot of these other guys, they do these videos where they just read fucking articles. I don't need you to read an article to me. I can read the article and grab the information myself. And a lot of times they're not even grabbing the information themselves. They're reading it and completely missing the point. Mr. H reviews, big ass red flag.